Welcome to the first ever Waxman podcast. And I'm Eureka Waxman.
And I am Josh Waxman. And today's episode is going to be all about how do you start your own family banking system. It's something that a lot of people come to us about, something that most people don't know about, and something that we're going to break down for you guys today.
Yeah, so starting your own family banking system doesn't mean you need millions in the bank. You can start with the right mindset and the right strategy and a long-term vision. And so what are some myths when it comes to this topic?
Yeah, some of the myths when it comes down to this topic is that you need a lot of money to start. Most people think that infinite banking is only for the wealthy, and it's not. It's really for everybody. In fact, the whole concept of infinite banking really is structured on the concept that we all should be privatizing our banking system at the you and me level. That's not just for the wealthy. It does help a little bit if you're wealthier, for sure. Yeah. But anybody can do infinite banking. It's just the practice of utilizing a whole life policy for its cash value functions.
Right. So example, when I started my policy, I didn't feel ready at all. I didn't even know what the heck I was putting my money into. But I trusted it. I knew about the concept. I also trusted you and our vision. When I first started, I had a lot of debt. I had a house mortgage. I had some credit card debt. But I trusted the system and the concept and put money into my policy before I decided to pay all of that and not stay in the same cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the truth. Most people are already making a lot of these decisions on their own without infinite banking. They're just utilizing typical financial strategies, and that's the major challenge, is that a lot of people are being led by other types of people, being led by Wall Street, being led by the banking system, being led by the Dave Ramseys of the world, and they're still doing banking. They're just doing a form of banking that's not most beneficial to them. And so if this is you out there, this podcast is for you to really understand how you can utilize money to the best of your ability so you can take control of your finances and not rely on outside banks, outside financiers, and other people that control your money supply.
Right. And so what it is just a properly structured whole life policy that'll guarantee you growth. You can borrow against it any time, and you have tax advantages as well. So like instead of people put money in the bank and then what?
Yeah, typically the average person makes money, they work their butts off, they make all this money, and it goes immediately into the Bank of America, into Chase, into Wells Fargo, into Citi, into whatever. It goes into someone else's bank. And then you end up borrowing against that account to go spend money in your life. And even though you don't think that you're borrowing from a bank account, what you're really doing is you're writing checks against it. As soon as you put $100 in the bank, that $100 is gone completely forever. Someone else just after you came and got $100, or someone took out a loan or a mortgage or something, that your $100 is gone. What you're really doing when you go get $100 at the bank is you're taking $100 of someone else's money that the bank had on deposit. And so in the reserves, really. And so family banking, infinite banking, is about doing this on the you and me level. It's about taking that money, and instead of throwing it into the traditional bank and then writing everything against it, you're going to now take that money from the traditional bank, from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever, and move it over to a whole life policy that's structured in a way with a mutual carrier that has dividends that are being paid out, that is been around for over 100 years, A or A plus carrier rated, and that those are the four things that I look for in a policy, and be able to borrow against that money to then go pay for your bills, your expenses, your real estate, your investments, your business, whatever it is that you have out there.
Right. So this is not just about you. A family banking system becomes a system you can pass on to your kids, families, generations to come. So you're really creating a foundational system for the generations to come, right?
Absolutely. I would say that that's one thing that infinite banking is not for, is people that have a YOLO mindset, right? We grow up in this YOLO kind of world that you only live once, and you're supposed to, you come into this world broke and you die broke. And that's not my mindset. And a lot of people, it is their mindset. This isn't for those people. This is for people that care about a legacy, people that want to leave the world better than what they got here, people that want their family, their siblings, their kids, their grandkids, the people around them to be better off financially speaking because they were here. And not only financially speaking, but also mentally, because now they're actually going to be a good steward of their money. It's very hard to mess up your money when you are in control of it. Which I think that a lot of people have the opposite situation, is they think that they're going to mess up their money, so they give their money away, and it's a misconception. And it's really because it's like the fact that you give up control of your money to banks or Wall Street, or throw it in Robinhood or crypto or gamble on the weekends or whatever, is the very reason why you're not good with your money. But if you owned the bank that you were borrowing from, you would have to be a good steward of your money. And that's what the grocery store example and the becoming your own banker is all about.
Right. And so here are some 3 things that you can use to get started, or you need to get started. Number 1 would be you want a desire to take back control of your finances. And what are a couple other ones?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second one is that you need to have some sort of consistent income. And it doesn't have to be consistent, because a lot of my clients are realtors. Mm-hmm. And you were a realtor before. Realtors don't always have consistent income, but they know they're going to make money at some point, right? And so you know that when you have a good sale after 3 months or whatever, that it's going to pay for the next couple months, that you have an excess of capital. If you're living a paycheck to paycheck, it's a challenge. So you need not necessarily consistent income, but consistent cash flow that is in excess of your bills. Can't be living a paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, I would say also like believing in yourself, knowing that you're going to make more income, and know that you're going to need a place to put all that income that you're creating.
Right. And that's the third thing, right? A long-term mindset. If people are looking for a short-term mindset, if they're looking for instant gratification, if they're looking for the next big hit, if they're looking for the next Tesla or crypto or something that's going to go off the walls, then this isn't for you. This is not a get rich quick scheme. It's something that you want to think generations ahead, and at least 20, 30, 40 years in the future. And a lot of people, because of instant gratification, Instagram, Facebook, social media, we have a very short-term thinking mindset. And so it does require having a long-term mindset.
Right. And so you don't need any debt, or you don't need to be debt-free. You don't need to be perfect. And we've helped plenty of clients start with a few $100,000 a month, and now they're buying real estate, paying off debt, or funding their businesses from just using their policy alone. And so from real client examples, you want to tell them about one of the clients we just helped?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think having debt, a little bit of debt, is the easiest thing to start seeing some return, some actual tangible results from a policy. Almost all of our clients, think about it. Kenny paid off $300,000 of his equipment financing, or $200,000 of his equipment financing through his policy. Yeah. Ashley paid off $15,000 of credit card debt. You have Anna, who paid off $65,000 of a line of credit from her parents. You have us paid off our debt. You had your mortgage. You had debt from the furniture at the house, mm-hmm. and your Airbnb and stuff like that. I had student loan debt. I had debt from credit cards. Those are all things, and SBA loans from my previous business. Those are all examples of people. And yeah, I think my token example right now, just because we just did their 4th policy with them, is the Hunt family. Is the reason that they're a great example is because we started off, both husband and wife got policies. One was $500 a month, one was $850 a month, and they both overfunded them to the point where in the last 6 months they paid off both of their credit cards, personal credit cards. Their credit score went up 100 points. They also paid off 2 cars, and they also paid off half of their home equity line of credit so far. So now and her business is growing. So both of their businesses are growing. So now they have increased income, which means they have more excessive income, which means that now we can go get more policies. So we just did another $20,000 a month policy, $5,000 a month base, where they're overfunding the rest of the cash, and now they're going to actually use it as a banking system. Mm-hmm. And so this concept of utilizing it for day-to-day use is something that most people don't talk about. Life insurance, as you know, is something that most people end up getting and then never looking at ever again. They never talk to their agent again. They never think about it again. It's something that's a set it and forget it kind of thing. And we kind of reshape people's minds with that by teaching them how to actually use their policy.
Right. And just going back on the couple, like Diane, she runs her own business and network marketing. So anybody who's out there and doing the same thing, running your own business as a mom and entrepreneur, and he runs his own business as well, right?
Yes, he does SEO, digital marketing, ads, all that type of stuff.
So they combine their incomes from both of them. They both have their policies, but they use it as one to be able to support their kids and their expenses as well. All right. So let's see what happens when you start. So when you do start and you get into this mindset of you understand how the shift works, you start to think differently. It didn't click for me until I actually started using my own policy for myself. And then that's when you're like, wow, everybody needs to do this. You're going to preach it to everybody around you. You're going to want to spend more intentionally. We had clients that have told other agents here, like, hey, I messed up. I didn't put my money into the policy first before I went to go spend it somewhere else. So the fact that they're saying that is amazing because they're starting to understand the concept. And then what about you, babe? What do you think about what happens to you whenever you start for somebody who...
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that happens is that you start rethinking your thinking. That's one of the 5 rules of infinite banking from Nelson Nash, is that you start rethinking your thinking. And for me personally, I found all these pockets of money that I didn't think about before. I started changing the way that I thought about money and started putting together all the different sources of income. I also streamlined a lot of our expenses on 0% interest credit cards, which is a really good thing. And you start teaching your family a different way to think about money. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say one of the first things that happens when you start is just like when you are looking for a car, you're going to start receiving all of this, downloading all this information. You're going to see the car everywhere. You're going to see all of this stuff. You're going to hear Grant Cardone talk positively about not having debt. You're going to listen to Robert Kiyosaki, who says money is all fake and you should go into as much debt as possible so you can free yourself of worrying about money. And so all these people are going to come to you. And then what's also going to happen is you're going to have these completely opposing viewpoints. Your friends and your family are going to think you're crazy. The people that you're around are going to think you're crazy. You're going to see a Dave Ramsey video pop up on your Instagram feed, and he's going to say, all debt is bad debt. And you're going to start questioning yourself. So you got to continue staying educated in the process. And I think that's one of the most challenging parts for clients and agents, is to continue surrounding yourself with the type of information that you actually want to hear. Because if you go out there in the street, or you go out there, and Jim Rohn talks about it, that the birds will get it, or the Bible talks about it, that your seed's going to fall on rocky soil, that it's very easy to not be disciplined in your ideologies about money. Yeah. And so you got to stay committed. You got to stay true to your purpose. You got to join our webinars and our masterminds and go to infinite banking think tanks and just start being a student of Austrian economics so you can be somebody that really lives, breathes infinite banking.
And I think it also comes down to trusting us or who you decide to do business with, because that's very important. You are going to have different people telling you different things from different ways. But I tell everybody it comes down to, do you know us deeply or want to get to know us more? Continue being around us, listen to our podcasts, our client masterminds, everything we provided for you. We wouldn't be doing this business if there was something else that was better or that was fucking people over. Excuse my French. But so if you've been waiting for the perfect time, this is your sign. You do not need to be ready. You just need to be willing to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the first things that we do is just, if this is something that you want to figure out, map out, strategize, feel free to reach out to us and we can set up a discovery call, just a no sale, completely open, see if it's something that makes sense for you kind of call. And that's just like a 10-15 minute call, just get a good idea of the process. And we can kind of walk you through exactly how we do our business and what we do, and how working with us is going to change the way that you operate your finances and really change the way that you operate your life, because money in the world today drives everything. And if you change the way you work your money, you're going to change the way you live your life. And that's what we hope for everybody that comes around us.
Yeah. And so thank you for joining us on the Waxman podcast in this episode. I hope this spoke to you. If it did, please screenshot and tag us on Instagram. Don't forget to share with somebody who's ready to build their own family bank. And
be sure to like, subscribe, turn our notifications on so we can keep delivering more and more value to you every single day.
Okay, so thank you for watching the Waxman podcast.